much like where you left off before at that head branch at Bioma. And well outside the front gates of the property is Sabrak and the secretary from previously. The secretary seems nervous, and Sabrak seems impatient.
Ooh.
Oh.
The other dad is frustrated.
As you guys approach, he just kind of waves you. Come on, this is going to be a heartache and a half. Let's go. He opens the front gates with his black key, and the whole front gates of this property turn into the portal, much like from Stillwater. So you guys are coached to go through, carriages and all, through that portal, presumably to the atrium.
All right.
I'm trying to think, would Edgar make a stink in the atrium if he showed up without a mask on?
Actually, no, I'm sorry. Sabrak will not allow the freaking carriages to come through, but we'll usher you guys to go through. But it's like, okay, we're expected. He hasn't asked us a thing about how well the mission went.
Yeah.
This is roleplay time.
Oh boy, time to go in and get this done.
You guys stand here at the carriages. I mean, I need some give and take here.
Oh wait, remember that I'm away from things, so I can't see where we are. But we're just standing in front of the carriages we're about to go through.
Yeah, at this point, everyone's parked the carriages, and you've kind of jumped off. Sabrak's opened up this large portal in front of you at the front gates, assumably to go back to the atrium. And it does not seem like he's very excited.
Edgar's gonna walk.
Oh,
sorry, go ahead, Glosson.
I apologize. Is Xander still here? Is he coming?
Oh yeah,
back?
he's with the guys.
Okay. Well, then Glosson's gonna take his hand and walk forward. Nervous. Anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Edgar. When did you use that?
Everyone's still getting used to saying Edgar instead of Ardwin.
Right.
Edgar's going to walk right up to Sabrak and go, "So, do we have a plan?"
I'm going to propose a case, he very flatly says. If they accept it, that's half of it.
And if they don't?
Presume. He pauses. We're probably going to get arrested, at the least.
He's gonna kind of turn and look towards the others.
Best case. Oh, by the way, what are we doing with the 6 traders that are still in the brig?
Immediately,
local,
I think we're handing them over to law enforcement.
Yeah, immediately they'll be marched out under some form of guard and someone see them handed over to some form of military, police, whatever.
Oh yeah, okay. So they get incarcerated at the Bioma prison, so to speak. So okay, that's taken care of.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, no, making sure that gets done quickly. He would have attended to that after disembarking.
I assume people are just going to kind of filter through if you don't have anything to add into the portal.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess Stonewall saying, I guess a little something that's like that was more than something to that degree. He would say that in passing.
I'm sorry, my headset dropped. I heard we're all going to pass through unless blank.
Unless anyone has anything to add about or ask to Sabrak or anything before you go through.
I guess someone was asking the question would probably say to him, I hope things have been slightly calmer here.
Not much has changed, he just says.
Mm-hmm. He'd nod and go on through. Or give a slight salute and go on through.
Vivian, under the guise of Brooks, or maybe vice versa, depending on what your perspective is,
Mhm.
arrives and just stands in front of Sabrak. Just this tired sigh.
Edgar immediately turns around and does the JoJo bend to watch what happens.
Sabrak looks Brooks up and down. The person you believe is Vivian just kind of gives this tired shrug and this tired face. She just says, this is, take it, like, whatever you believe, I'll accept it. You see Sabrak walk up, like, within an inch. And this very unexpected, over-emotional hug
Oh!
from Sabrak.
Aww. Aww. Aww.
You see
Yeah.
Vivian hug him respectively.
Mhm.
Just that sigh of knowing content.
Yes, it's what they deserve.
He clasps her about her and does to people and just kind of looks at her and says, I have a plan. Just do your best. There's a slight sniffle as maybe the hint of a tear, and she nods and just agrees.
Oh, heart.
Ooh.
You guys walk through, you find him in the atrium, much like you were familiar with. Except you are accosted by no less than 8 Stillwater guards. Half of the council is here. There's a large blue portal that shows some sort of prince figure, 3 guards you do not recognize. The paladin Juniper Aditya is standing up front. Several council members are just around space. The atrium is empty, save for the people on screen. The person who looks like Vivian is seated at the far back under this small beam of skylight as if she was expecting this. She's sitting comfortably in her little chair. Juniper's voice radiates very loudly and echoes through the room. The Stillwater Adventurers Guild branch is hereby under arrest for harboring a criminal and possible treason, acts of treason. This portal, this princely figure who one of you recognizes, announces loudly, I am Lucas Adoror, Prince and heir to the throne of the Kingdom of Aegon. I have a simple question or two. Why have you taken a prisoner? Why are you holding them? Juniper kind of holds up a hand as if to halt this portaled figure from speaking. There are a lot of questions, he announces, and there are a lot of answers that are needed. What say you? What has anyone here to defend themselves or make any notion that we should not have you incarcerated right now? Those of you who are looking, by the way, as soon as he says this, sees the slightest just shit-eating smirk from Vivian at the back of the room. She's sitting comfortably and happy, like watching a TV show.
Oh yeah, yeah. She thinks that that we can't touch her.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Let's play a little game.
Let's play. What you got?
Well, we're gonna start a fight in here. Odds probably aren't good.
I believe strongly to say that if anyone starts throwing fists in here, it will end badly for you
I
guys.
was about to say,
exactly,
please don't.
yeah.
Even Edgar's
Yeah, no,
gonna
let's
keep
not start
it away.
throwing fists. It's not good. This way, play cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
And then bring the smackdown later on.
I'm gonna phrase my side like this. Glossen's blood starts to boil, but instead of doing anything, he just grips Xander's hand much harder.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, Am I? Oh fuck. Okay.
Oh, I got you. No, I got you.
Okay.
Sabrak is the first to step forward and kind of break the ice here. You know, it says we have strong belief that Vivian Amberbrose, that Vivian Amberbrose, he points to the one seated at the back, is an imposter and has swapped minds with the criminal Brooks. He points to your Vivian. A few gasps here and there. Valentine Strife, the other paladin at the back, kind of stands up. Mr. DeEvian, are you aware of what you were accusing? Says yes. She says, and are you prepared to try and defend this? This is a strong accusation. And will not be taken lightly. Says, yes, I am fully aware. She almost seems to be overly sure of making sure he is aware of what he's trying to get himself into. She announces in a very concerned tone, a case would ensue. Sabrak stands strong. I fully understand this, Miss Strife. I would like to submit before the council case proposal number 404, finding Vivian Amberbrose.
Are you serious? 404?
We have reason to believe that Vivian Amberbrose is a farce and has intent of the malicious kind. Hence the sudden interest in sending employees to their possible doom. A few of the council members that are here begin to murmur amongst themselves. You see Juniper furrow his brow a little bit, unsure of how to take this. Paladin Strife at the back chimes up again. Her decisions are and have been agreed upon after careful consideration, but the notion is acknowledged, Mr. Davian. Sabrak continues. We believe that Miss Amberbrose and the criminal Brooks have transferred consciousness with each other during an interrogation of at least 4 months ago. Paladin forward this time. And what do you two think of such accusations? He looks between Vivian and Brooks with you guys. Both of them, in unison, say, it's completely idiotic.
Oh, God.
Several gasps from the rest of the council.
She's done her homework.
Aditya's eyes raise. His eyebrows raise in a look of surprise. Well, I believe that alone should be enough cause to trial. He looks around, several of the council members kind of nod in agreement. Mr. Devian, your case is approved. Case number 404 will commence. For the sake of this trial, the two accused will be referenced as number 1. He points to Vivian. He points to Brooks. Please step forward. The remaining branch, please wait your turn. He kind of points roughly at everybody. The guards do seem to back off slightly, but stand to the side. Please think amongst yourselves and talk amongst yourselves as I prepare things.
There's not much that the council knows about Vivian that the actual Brooks wouldn't be able to get their hands on.
True.
True, yeah.
I have a few tools that might help, but not the best, and there is not a guarantee on any of them.
I have a thought of a point Glosson could bring up, considering something that has been mentioned briefly before, but there's a chance it won't do a whole lot, but it may help us a little.
Now's the time to put your plans together if you don't have one. I'm setting up a few things.
I have an idea. So with everyone's permission, I'd like to execute it when it comes to my turn. But I do have an idea that I have also mentioned to the DM before, and he hasn't given me anything about it. But he said that may be a good idea. So I figured it might be worth it to at least bring it up and see what happens.
I agree. That'd be if you have anything, that's a good thing.
The guards will stand to the side, still at attention, but not bothering you guys or literally holding you. For the sake, I will buff up their tokens slightly. The Vivian, you believe is a farce, will very slowly saunter her way over. She's strutting her stuff now. She thinks she's untouchable.
Pushes all my buttons because one thing I can't a quality I cannot stand in people is when people are too cocky. I can't fucking stand it.
Long as hell, yeah. I hate those people.
Most like you've seen before, the atrium is made out of several geometric shapes that can come out of the floor. And in this case, instead of the amphitheater you were used to, it sections up a large desk in front of Juniper as like a judge's stand and two podiums up in front of these Vivians. Juniper again reiterates that for excuse me, for such case that Vivian will be referred to as one and Brooks here will be referred to as two for the sake of the argument. And they are to speak in third person. They both agree. All right. Before we begin, he announces, Lucas Adderor here brings up a very important case of questioning why the Stillwater Adventures Guild branch is in possession of the wanted criminal Brooks. Would anyone like to come forth and bring that upon opening statements to enlighten us?
Edgar turns and immediately looks to Willow.
You can type it out. I know you're saving your voice.
Like, do you want to say it or should I?
Yeah.
Oh, D-Rez has an ace? Ooh.
Oh.
So Willow announces the Wand of Wonder granted a wish. A few interested gasps from the people of the council as the Wand of Wonder is a very interesting artifact. Lucas Adderor is the first to ask, and where would such wand be in possession currently? He wants proof.
I pull out the bendy straw.
Paladin announces, for the sake of this argument, may we present it? He holds out a hand as if to ask, can we see the wand? A form of mage hand floats over and plucks the wand from you and floats about the court and kind of spins in front of people. It is immediately recognized before the council that this is not a wand of wonder, and immediately get suspicious of why you were calling it such things. This is not a wand of wonder. This is a standard variation of a magic wand.
What?
It's
This is not a wand of wonder.
It's not specifically a wand of wonder. We just keep calling it that. It is a different variation of the wand of a wand of wonder. Someone's gonna have to take it and cast something with it to believe what the hell we're doing.
Oh.
Oh, you announced this. Interesting.
Oh, huh.
Oh.
Ooh.
I know that's not the ace, but that's still a good point.
No, this works. This works wonderfully. So, Adit just says, that is interesting. We have had many variations from a wand that would not be unlike randomization of spells. For the sake of this argument, he raises up a hand and a large partition comes up, separating the two Vivians. He waves a hand over number 2, and those of you who are magically inclined recognize it as a silent spell. So number 2 is now deaf and mute at the moment. Says, holds up Bartleby's wand. Number 1, for the sake of this argument, do you recognize this, and if so, what is it? Number 1 looks at it, squints a little bit. That would be recognized as the late Bartleby's wand. Misused or used by another could produce such random spells. He seems satisfied enough with that answer. He waves a silent spell over her and looks to number 2. Number 2, do you recognize this wand? If so, what is it? Number 2 says, yes, I do. That is a wand used by a wizard that was, you can tell she's having a hard time, but making sure she is wording everything carefully. She seems a little bit nervous. It is a wand used by a former wizard from the town of Homestead named Bartleby. He seems to nod. He dispels a silent spell and waves the partition down. He places Bartleby's wand on his judge. All right. Next point. This seems to be plausible. We've had weirder things happen with magic spells. Until further evidence is proven or disproven, that will be taken as fact. Very good, Willow. That seems to satiate the court for now. On to pressing matters, Paladin Aditya says, and announces both addresses 1 and 2. He pulls up a few documents in front of him. For the sake of this court, we will go between the two of you and ask generic questions of common knowledge information and see if any discrepancies are found. You will literally go back and forth. Ask number 1, please submit your full name. Number 1 stands very proudly and says, Vivian Eloise Amberbrose. Number 2, your age, please. 41.
Wow, she's older than she looks.
Number 1, please submit your birthday. She says, today, 10/31, 13/31.
Now I just feel bad.
Happy birthday. Number 2. Is there a father, and what is their name? Number 2 says, yes, I have a father. Eldritch Preston Amberbros. Number 1. Is there a mother? And please give a name. It says, yes, a currently living mother. Hazel Bristol Amberbros. Number 2. Any immediate relatives beyond a mother and direct father? She says, yes, one brother, Isaiah Hackran Amberbros. Number 1. Sorry. It says number 2. He swaps it up. What is your hometown or place of birth? It says, the holy city of Gifford. A few nods about the council from this. Number 1, what is your express position at the questing circle? Number 1 says, the primary founder and overseeing CEO and the leading head of the paladins serving under the questing circle. See the slightest little head wiggle of, yeah, I know I'm right. Number 2, what is the year the questing circle was founded? And please name the founders. Number 2 seems to be getting very nervous. She says, the founding year was 1345. Myself, Vivian Amberbros, and my brother, Isaiah Amberbros. Further founders are yourself, Juniper Aditya, Paladin Valentine Strife, she motions to Strife at the back, and Elder Harriet Judith. Murmurings amongst the council. Paladin Aditya sighs. No discrepancies. Interesting. Number 1, you are being accused of being an imposter. I can make a 20th level transference spell at the snap of my fingers. Please defend your actions these past few months regarding bad decisions based on the assumption of your peers and co-workers. She actually looks to number 2, and she kind of looks around at everybody in the room. She clears her throat. I feel my actions have been made with a level head and clear mind. I trust that as his brother, I'm the best candidate for predicting Isaiah.
As his brother?
Oh, I'm sorry. As sister, that's my script. I wrote this like literally at work. I apologize. That's not a slip of the tongue. That's my fault. I originally wrote as Isaiah, his brother, and wrote that out and put his, and I realized I fucked up. Thank you for catching that. That's how you would catch it in court. I appreciate that. As his sister, I'm the best candidate for predicting Isaiah. He's no pushover. It will require a full team to capture him. I felt wasting time trying to explain intuition and hunches seemed irrelevant at the time. Murmuring, peas and carrots.
Keys and parrots.
Okay. I would now like to open this to those involved. Employees involved, he references everybody at the back here. One by one, you will stand in front of the podium. A new podium arises, just shy of Sabrak. Please stand, and you have 5 minutes to make a support case against or for finding Vivian Amberbros.
Oh no. I think most folks here can see my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh, what
Yes,
is
I
your
was like
problem?
this dude. I was this dude for a while, and then I'm like, I'm totally this guy now. So like,
All right. Savary basically just says, just do your best.
Glosson has a case, and I'm like, eee.
I will need at least everyone here to make a case. The other people aren't going to really have much to add.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, are we going in a specific order, or is it just?
It was not confirmed what order, so at this point, it's just kind of open.
Okay.
You can make a case. You can ask questions of 1 and 2. Whatever you'd like.
I'm eager to get my turn out of the way because I have it.
Do you want to go first, honey?
You go first if you want. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I do. If I may, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Nervous jittering. Glosson he'll give a look to Xander, then one to Edgar. You guys can make an assumption you think you know what he's going to say, maybe, as he slowly makes his way over to the podium. Wait, am I allowed to just walk up there, or do I have to ask?
Yeah. It's all good. Absolutely.
Okay. With your permission, sir, I do have a point.
Please state your name and position for the record. Aditya announces, addressing you.
So funny because Glosson doesn't have a last name yet. My name is Glosson. Insert last name here, and I am
Just say
in.
Glosson. I mean, if you don't actually have a last name.
Oh, okay, good. Because he doesn't have a last name yet. My name is Glosson, and do I just say I'm an employee?
You were an employee at the Stillwater branch, Stillwater's Adventures Guild.
Oh, okay. I say that.
Mm-hmm. Please continue.
Taking a breath. He start with number 1. Number 1, if I may question.
She looks to you. Not a big smile, but a kind smile. Not a smile you are familiar with, though.
Yes. Anyway, there's a slight rigidness that comes to him when the smile is given, but he clears his throat, visibly relaxes a little. Number 1. A few days prior to our departure on sea, you and I were in the rooftop garden and had a rather meaningful heart-to-heart conversation. There was a case recently presented about the kingdom of... Help me with names, darling.
Eglalin.
The kingdom of Eglalin being taken over, and the kingdom is planned to be redeemed. You are familiar with this, yes?
Absolutely, she says with what seems like the utmost confidence.
Lovely. And as you know, I was
planning to take back as much as we can.
All right. And as you are aware, I was about to say, would it have in the records that he was the one that presented the case?
No, you are anonymous as the person who was initiated the finding of such.
Oh, I could use a little point. Anyway, all right, and as you know, the person who presented the case is anonymous, but you know who? Who presented you the case?
Oh, you're asking if she knows who presented the case?
I mean, yeah, he kind of made it obvious already, but just want to outward phrase it.
Yes, the informant is to remain anonymous, but I personally know who they are.
He gives a nod. What was the reason as to why they presented you the case?
You can tell she really starts to search a little bit.
Hmm.
The reason this informant brought this up was because they were originally from Eglalin. It started as a meaningful conversation of missing their home following a topic relevant discussion, which I am not allowed to disclose for anonymity, however you want to say that word.
Anonymity. Edgar kind of sits up, starts looking around the court like, did nobody really catch that completely atrocious use of grammar and diction? Like, excuse me, Vivian wouldn't be caught dead saying that. He doesn't say any of this, he just kind of looks around like, really? Nobody caught that?
Really? Okay.
Yep.
As of right now, they both seem to be phrasing words very carefully.
Glosson nods. And he sits there. He ponders for just a moment. He doesn't take too long because he knows he has a time limit. Thank you. And then he goes, number 2. And he phrases his question differently this time. He goes, in the same manner, why did I say that we needed to take the kingdom back?
Several gasps from the court.
Yeah, what was my reasoning? His eyes look desperate.
You're going to hate me because I legit don't remember which specific point you're going for right now.
Do you remember the roleplay we did with Amber Bros and Glosson up on the rooftop garden?
I do, but there was a lot said. Other than wanting to take back your kingdom, I don't know what specific point you're trying to grab for.
Hey, let me give you a brief reminder. It's okay. I can give you a brief reminder.
Mm-hmm. Anemone. Anemone.
Good.
Right. I gotcha. Number 2, we'll look to you and kind of wide-eyed a little bit, taken aback that you've outed yourself like this. The reason for this is solely selfish reasons.
Ouch.
The person who has made the decision from the informant selfishly decided to wage war because they cannot, because Vivian Amber Bros will not allow the surface to be ruled by Drow. Murmurs, murmurs, murmurs. Aditya will announce. While number
I
two's...
just wanted to let you know I'll be right back.
Okay. He says, while number two's answer seems more personal, both answers are acceptable. I'll be vague. He kind of looks over at number one. Number two seems to be more credible, as I believe we now have, unfortunately, unmasked our anonymous informant. Apologies. He just looks to you, Glosson.
It's all right, sir. I felt the anemone. I felt that it may have been more helpful to this case.
Anonymity! English major coming out screaming at everybody. I will type it in the chat.
All in caps.
Yes, in all caps, because this is a caps lock type of moment for me.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
Thank you, Glosson. He just says, you believe you are dismissed from your podium.
Right, before he completely walks away, he gives Brooks one last desperate look as he slowly walks back over to where he was.
Mm-hmm.
Anonymity! Ways to turn the English major sorcerer into a barbarian real fast. Butcher the English language.
All right, you got 4 more cases to make, and I only have like 30 more minutes.
Okay.
So either Stonewall, Edgar, or Willow.
Somebody has to do it before Edgar, because I'm still building mine.
Edgar, it's probably not going to be as much as you think you're going to need, but I support whatever you want to throw. So I assume Stonewall, because I don't think Willow's going to wait.
Why not? They was thinking of why Stonewall would, rather be, obviously, rise, stand up, adjust himself accordingly, and walk to the podium.
Mm-hmm.
Do not have control of my token.
I apologize. Go for it.
No, I do. Okay. Thank you. We'll go around. We'll go around and get to the center of the podium. And I guess he would address himself.
Yeah, you asked to state your name and position, and I assume you do so, no problem.
Yeah, Stonewall, would of course say his name, Sir Jonathan Stonewall,
And you give your position.
Stonewall Adventure, yada, 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 Could say something about being in command of the Rangreaves Imperial Guard, but probably just says that offhandedly because, it's an official thing. He's a military officer.
Mm-hmm.
And sensing, the gravity of the situation, looking around at all this and kind of turning to just kind of to address. It's okay if you say to address both of them at the same time to hear what one of their answers was, kind of like Lawson, not turning to both of them, but just asking a question so that each of them can answer.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Someone would say, one thing I've been wondering as we have embarked on this quest and this quest is what was the reasoning behind why we were sent out the way we were? I understand the goals, but as a military officer and have seen and serviced through the Great War, I've been in my fair share of being issued very odd orders, but I'm a soldier and I follow them. Why did you seem to, in his term, why did you seem to strip the garrison here and go, to go off on something that could be done by a smaller party? Like, why did it include so much force?
Are you specifically asking about the quest entirely, or the Midnight Star?
Mainly the thinking behind why we were sent out the way we were, I guess.
Why you?
He's kind of asking. Oh, he's asking two different ones technically. Mm-hmm. I lumped two into the same question. Like, he's asking, why did you strip the quest encircle? When you could have used a few small bodies. Asking this to number one. More directed to number one, and then we'll direct some to number two.
Okay, I'm trying to make sure I'm getting this correct. You're asking.
That's the gist of what I was asking.
Okay, you're trying to ask why your team, your group of 8, were sent out on this quest entirely, with regarding Carolyn and the Stones.
No, more why. Mm-hmm. More in the decision to rip entire teams out to go search for one person when few people.
The sending of the Biama branch. I got you.
Yeah, the sending of branches because he sees this as really stupid because he's going off an experience he had in the Great War.
I got you. I'm with you now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for any confusion, but that's what he's asking.
No, it's good. So number one will respond. I decided it would be best to send an entire branch of several multi-capable individuals with a variation of skills and attributes after this one incredibly dangerous criminal, instead of a small elite team of, say, only a few abilities. Variation is what will be needed to capture Isaias.
So we're nodding, and then to number two and says, would you have done a similar thing?
I would have done a similar thing, she says, making sure they were properly briefed and fully aware of what they're possibly going into.
Mm-hmm. And so I'll turn back on number one saying, and with that, were they properly briefed on what the dangers of the mission were, of what was at stake?
Absolutely. A voice from Valentine Strife comes up from the back. The entire branch was thoroughly briefed upon everything they could possibly encounter. Mm-hmm. With Vivian, or number one, she corrects herself. Mm-hmm.
Someone says, Snowmore nods in agreement saying, okay, and Snowmore would ask, and question I've been wondering being, have they returned from said expedition, mission, whatever they want to call it?
They have not been recorded beyond missing. Last known contact was recorded from the Haunted Mountains. Aditya will clarify. They are still missing.
Okay.
But no bodies means they're not technically dead.
Mm-hmm. Someone would, someone says, okay. And
thank you.
Nod to the council and would say, thank you very much. All I have to offer. And we'd go to sit back down.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Who next? Who next?
Anybody? What happened?
I reconnected.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I approached the bench.
Awesome.
you do so.
God, yeah. Honey, you need to cough her up.
To number 1.
She looks to you.
What was the name of the adventurer that you took under your wing and taught magic to, and then what happened to him? When you're done answering, same question to number 2.
Number 1 will kind of furrow her brow a little bit, and Divinity will ask you to specifically clarify. She says, I've taken a few under my wings. I assume you're going to say something like a rogue, maybe?
Yes.
The rogue in question, I believe you were referring to, she recalls her memory for a second. I believe that by the alias Scape, a male half-elf who was the 37th employee under the Sealwater branch before the revisions and relocation. He was a good employee. Unfortunately, he has since... He befell a... If the council will recall, the revisions were made shortly thereafter. The infiltration of Razor Crest cultists upon the atrium, in which they had released a demon we were previously imprisoning, and the demon had killed several employee and staff members, and Skaith was among the group that lost their lives that day. You can tell she's trying to be sad. You can tell she's got remorse. But most of you here know it's fake ass shit.
Yep.
Number 2 looks exactly over and looks back to Willow and says, the exact same answer, Paladin, 37th employee, Skaith, male, half-elf. The exact same answer.
You said Paladin, I think you meant Rogue, didn't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm doing this from memory. I got so many notes.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, though. Thank you. Always catch me on stuff like that, please. Number 2 does not have anything specific to ask. She says the same information in a slightly different way, but no, like, groundbreaking anything new. She'll word it slightly different, but the same answer in a nutshell. And unless you have anything else to add, they will thank you.
There went the trump card.
I have Naora and Edgar.
I think Naora is still AFK. Once Willow steps down, I think Edgar has enough to go on. If this doesn't work, I don't know what the hell will. Okay.
Okay.
Edgar will take the stand, but when he takes the stand, he will not say anything. He will literally just go up there and stand there for a moment. Just
Please
looking
state
at
your
them.
name for the record and position for the record, please.
He's going to look up and say, I was the one formerly known as Ardwin Bannet. I was a sorcerer and employee here. And then he's immediately gonna turn and suddenly kind of change tune and go, "Can I borrow a pen and paper?"
Yes. You catch Aditya off guard. He waves a hand, and one will appear before you on the podium.
Alright. He'll take the pen and paper and really quickly scribble something down. And then he'll fold it in half and hold it out and say, "Could you take that, please? Make sure that neither one nor two see it."
Yes. The mage hand will... Actually, no. Not mage hand. It'll disappear from your desk and appear on his.
Okay. He's going to stand up straight and say, "I would like 1 and 2 to identify me, personally." I'm going to remind people that Edgar's true identity was never written down.
Nice.
Because only one... this was a formal, verbal-only meeting in which he entered the guild. None of his identity is written anywhere. And guess what he just wrote on that piece of paper? Literally everything that he told Vivian the first day they met.
Oh, there it is!
Okay, yeah.
So, pray to God that this works. If they get around this, I'm gonna be impressed.
Number 2 is eager to step up to the bat, and she lays it all down. Dr. Edgar Marlowe, and she lists everything about Edgar. Successfully, confident, she has got this pin. She could not be prouder of you right now. Astaroth, Elder Demon, the first hierarchy, she goes the works. I assume since Paladin Aditya knows kind of what you've written down here, he just instinctively opens up the paper and tries to keep up with her.
Yeah.
He's very confused.
And then you get this really petty answer. She just looks just like, "Oh my God, I couldn't love you anymore right now, Edgar." She just looks so happy. And then she looks over at number 2 like, "Ha!" I'm sorry, number 1, and number 1 just looks like, just kind of looks to you, Edgar, like, "Really?" Sits up at Paladin. Same.
Same. Your fucking answer is same, you dumb bitch! Anyway.
He's gonna grin. Alright, interesting. How have I been able to keep this guise on so long?
Easy,
Sorry.
you've had a disguise. Most
And
likely
how
taken
so?
along.
Name it exact, because he told Vivian exact, and Vivian didn't say that one because I didn't send it to you.
Good, because I was about to bullshit. Here, no, this will work, because I do need a catch. She says, "You would not disclose that, but you had a disguise that was most likely either a mask of many faces, or some sort of demonic mask."
He's gonna nod
Number
and turn.
2 will interrupt from you. No! What was it? Evil mask.
And there was one other thing that I forgot to. I didn't. But I didn't. Sorry.
No, just Phoenix Wright quotes. Take that.
Oh God.
Objection.
I assume you wrote down the proper tool on the paper?
The proper tool I wrote down on the paper. At the very bottom, I also put down the artifact that he was using to disguise his his presence as a demon, so that even paladins couldn't detect him.
You'll actively can tell when Aditya reads this portion because his eyes actually go wide and like, "Oh, this can be troublesome for us."
Thank God he's on your side.
He says, "I see. Strong case. That makes a very valid point. Thank you, Dr. Marlowe."
He'll nod and bow.
Sassy.
Is Naora still not here?
Don't think she is, sadly.
Don't think so.
Murmurings. With the contradictories in place, it's leading
I'm
towards
mad because I
number two.
forgot something. I forgot there's something else I could have done. Can I run back up and go like, wait a minute, I forgot something?
I thought Edgar would do that.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, remember last night? Oh wait, there was one more thing.
Good.
Anyway,
One more thing. He's gonna. It looks like.
there you go.
Okay, so he's gonna rummage through, and he's gonna pull what looks like a single satchel, like a leather pouch purse out of nowhere. And he's gonna start rummaging through it. He's gonna start pulling random crud out of it and throwing it back inside. Like, no, not that. Ah, here it is. He's gonna grab what looks to be some kind of oh god, would the technology even be up to it? Legs goes flying, which eyeballs come flying out.
Freaking people out.
My party members have to like duck to avoid getting whacked by things.
Marva will not stand for distractions in this court.
Oh, there! He pulls out something. It looks like it is a there's a device mounted on a tripod. It looks like there is a lens in the front and a couple of strange turntables on the back of it. Out of character, guys. This is a cinema reel thing.
Nice.
Let's see this.
Ooh.
He's gonna turn and very quickly just say, yeah. Kind of. It is literally a device. He will explain to the court this is a device that replays memories for everyone to see. So, should they be permitted, or if there's any doubt of what actually happened on the ship, he would be happy to play literally anyone's memories from the day this happened.
Alright. We'll hold on to that in just a second. If Naora wants to make a case, if she can, I support it. I don't want to leave her out, but I don't know what she would really have.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't.
No, either. Oh, there she is!
Yeah, so I was just waiting for the right opportunity to talk, but I don't really have anything to support.
Then I can help you with this if you would like. I would suggest if you don't have a personal case, I could suggest Naora can use her turn to submit the cinema.
That'll work.
Edgar pulled out Evil Cinema!
Oh.
Okay, so I assume you just kind of go through whoever it is permitted and just start relaying like personal information that they've had like one-on-one with this Vivian. God damn it.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna have to. Naora would have to step up next to him, and I am going to apologize because this literally needs to be planted in your chest.
Oh god, it's surgery all over again.
It's not like a gush stab. It's like it will kind of like the bottom tripod folds up and forms into a sort of spear that almost seems to sink in your chest. It's painless. If used correctly, it is painless. Excuse me.
I assume you can just go, I mean, you're going to be permitted to use it on everybody here. The only thing they try to argue is that you're, some people try to argue that since you are possibly in league with the criminal, these are being fabricated, but then you will remind the court these are memories, not illusions.
I will also offer that if anybody doubts it, they are free to use it themselves and confirm.
I will say, for the sake of the argument, because that seems shifty at first, Paladin Aditya will use it himself and confirm it is memories only.
Yep. Yeah, because what happens is it literally spins, like those two wheels spin and all these reels come off and you'll see what looks like cinema reels playing memories.
Wonderful. So this seems majorly stacked with number 2 in number 2's favor. At this point, you can tell number 1's sweating.
Oh look, I've been impaled, yep.
Paladin Aditya thanks you and says this seems, for the most part, leaning in number 2's favor. Does anyone have any further statements before we try consensus? Sabrak will step up and say, I don't have anything as amazing as whatever that was. He references Edgar.
Edgar's going to puff his chest out, leave the cinematic record on the desk, straight up hold it up mic drop style, and go back to his chair.
So basically, he peacocks it and walks back to Rewind.
Oh yeah.
But I do have one more thing I can bring before the court to help. This initial inspection. He says, Sabrak doesn't stand at the podium, he just kind of steps forward. On initial inspection and questioning, either individual can recite public knowledge, so I'd like to move to more private matters.
Oh!
Valentine Strife stands up very quickly and almost abruptly. They must be credible, otherwise it is blind trust, Mr. Davian. You brought it up before, this poison lip gloss is not credible. The council does not know of this. Says, yes, I understand.
Edgar suddenly leaning back in his seat with a couple of opera goggles and a martini.
Correct. It is private knowledge, but it is documented in one location only. And only a select few have access to such things. Vivian Amber Rose herself does not have current access to such a document.
Oh.
If you recall, he says, he steps forward, pacing the floor almost like he knows he's the shit now. To be a founder in the Questing Circle, much paperwork must be filed. Is that correct, Paladin Aditya? Yes, that is correct. Please continue. Upon anyone's employment under the Questing Circle, they must fill out documentation regarding themselves and their personal matters and anything affiliated with joining and hereby of the, well, being an employee. Yes, Mr. Davian, please make your point. My point, sir, is that the real Vivian Amberbrose would know what she put down on her personal file. That is only be able to be viewed by secondary in command, which would be you, sir. Mm-hmm. Meaning that the real Vivian Amberbrose would no longer have access to such a document after it was filed. Is that correct? Paladin Aditya agrees.
Excuse.
Same as much like your personal paperwork is not able to be accessed by you, but her. Says yes. And you believe there would be something on that form that the supposed imposter would not know? Or be able to, we'll say, replicate. Sabrak says, indeed. I have a question. Number one, he about turns, feet together, hands behind his back. He's got a little smile to him. Please tell everyone here, what pet does Vivian Amber-Rose own? Please note that no familiars, pets, or animals are put down on documentation. I believe everyone here in my current branch can confirm that they have not put a single mark down on any documentation after receiving their new familiars. We will reference a few of you who actually have them on you.
Oh, it's a good point.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Number one, please tell me, what form of pet does Vivian Amber-Rose own? Number one looks very cocky. Mr. Davian, that is a trick question. Vivian Amber-Rose does not own a familiar. He says, correct, but I asked for a pet. Nani?
Nani desu ka?
Omae wa no shinderu.
Nani?
Cyber just points. Number one, please empty your bag of holding to your side on the podium for all to see. Sweating intensifies. With a shaking hand, she pulls this bag of holding from her side and visibly dumps it on the table. Several MacGuffins and items, knickknacks, topple out, few on the floor. Nothing of importance until finally a small thwart of a dead yellow canary.
No!
Ooh.
A sharp inhaled, a gasp, and a cry of pain of Weebo from number two. Sabrak spins and eerily points at number two. An unprompted name. Paladin Aditya, please refer to Miss Amber-Rose's paperwork. Filled by herself, and please notice what it says under notes. Please read that aloud. Number one is horrified to see a dead animal. Paladin Aditya looks up the paperwork and reads aloud. Notes. One entry. One yellow canary. Female. Weebo. Sabrak says, and I ask, why would the real Vivian Amber-Rose forget her own pet she loves enough to document herself on her personal paperwork? Omae wa no shinderu.
No, cancel clap with all points. What?
Murmurs, murmurs, murmurs. She's a fake. She's a fake. It's not looking good for number one. Paladin Aditya quiets the court. I believe that with Dr. Marlowe's interesting presentation is substantial enough proof that number one is not, in fact, the real Vivian Amber-Rose. This is very, very much supported, so, as the fact she grips the podium and begins to sweat and look very, very nervous.
Edgar's going to cross his arms in front of his puffed out chest, look over to the number one, and very slowly drag a finger across his neck while he lets his demon eyes show.
Yeah.
I, Paladin Juniper Aditya, decree that the number two is the real Vivian Amber-Rose based off the proof testified and presented before the court today. Valentine Strife will stand up in the back. I second the motion.
Wow!
One by one, the other council members all agree in unison.
Happy celebration!
Just the pained Edgeworth stance by number one. A snap of his fingers, and you see a form of magic swap between number one and number two. you believe he's just swapped them back in whatever form of consciousness they had. Vivian looks at her hands wildly and then pats herself down really quickly. Then immediately looks at the dead bird on the podium.
Oh.
Meanwhile,
two
Brooks,
just
you feel your
drops
sins
to
crawling
her
up your back.
knees. Yeah, she just drops to her knees. Son of a bitch, you whore! She just shouts.
You are Babylon!
Can I freeze her? Can I freeze number 2? Can I just like Ray of Frost this bitch?
I imagine everybody has weapons about at the ready, but
Yeah,
Vivian
weapons
draws
are
her own sword and just points it. Starbuck eagerly steps aside like, ooh, my girl mad.
Edgar has a tool out, but at the same time, he's still sitting there with the martini and the bifocals. He's just like, I want to watch this.
It was, yeah.
Yes, Mom! Slay her! Slay her!
Yeah, we allowed to have at it.
Not
You don't
Edgar's
believe
going.
it would be good to just start casting magic and shit in here.
Edgar's going to immediately throw his arms to either side and pin everyone to their chairs. Like, no, she got this. Let her have her moment.
I know some of you might have to leave. I'm almost done. Just bear with me for like 5 more minutes. If
All
you
good.
can.
All good. All good. Yeah, we're good.
Vivian has her sword drawn. She just points it at this criminal. Brooks, you are under arrest formally by the questing circle. She just looks up. She finally staggers to her feet. You can tell all that tiredness finally hits her from the transfer. Huh. Fat chance, skank, and she just books it. She gets 2 feet and falls flat on her face. just complete, just scrapes the ground, just full on face plants like she did. There's a moment of, oh, because she doesn't move.
Edgar's gonna walk over and just kind of grab her by the ponytail and haul her up by the ponytail to check that she's alive.
I appreciate that. As you, before you get up out of your seat, you do see her stand up. She's facing you.
Okay.
As she stands, her eyes are jet black. And she turns around and you see the unanimous gasp from the rest of the court. You see Vivian's hand tremble for a moment. Isaias, she chokes out. In a voice that is not Brooks's, you hear very, very cocky tone come out. Sultry, deep, brooding. Do not like.
Bitchy.
Bad vibes. You know, I honestly expected her to be caught long ago. I'm almost impressed. At this point, guards rush into a circular position as let's say the podiums go back down. As Paladin Aditya calls for the guards to be in position, now realizing who this possibly is. Albeit a possession, still not anything good. And can I not get rid of a number 2? That would be very substantial right now. No number. No rid of
For
number.
drawings, you usually need to highlight and delete.
I'm trying to highlight it. I can't.
That's weird.
Okay, the 2 doesn't exist. It's fine. Gasps as guards rush into some form of a position to somewhat surround this individual. For the sake of everything here, we'll say they rush between you guys and the possessed individual.
Thanks.
I'm not gonna face the no. I have too many tokens to deal with.
Edgar's gonna kind of raise an eyebrow and watch this with interest.
She, sword still pointed. She seems to gain some form of confidence. Why don't you just surrender like a decent criminal instead of hiding? Paladin Aditya will announce over everyone. If you do not surrender, the questing circle will track you down as far as you go. You do understand this. The possessed Brooks says, "Oh, I'm sure I will. But giving up would spoil the magic now, wouldn't it?" Vivian slightly flicks the sword, pointed pretty much at Brooks's neck. This isn't going to end the way you think. Oh, I think so. Regardless of how this plays out, everyone here is going to be very concerned and conflicted in the next 10 minutes. What are you getting at? Just surrender like the coward you are. Oh, there's the sass I remember. Big sister puts up a big strong front for her defenseless little brother. Just stop. Huh? Oh. Oh. You haven't told them yet, have you? Isaias? Were you planning to tell them, or were they supposed to find out by accident? Don't. Don't what? Tell them you pushed me? I'm warning you! She's straightening her grip. She's getting legit angry. Oh. But that push wasn't an accident now, was it? Liar! He just chuckles to himself. Murmurs, murmurs, peas and carrots, peas and carrots. Vivian is the mix of emotions. Go to hell. She threatens him. Huh. You first. Eyes snap back, Brooks collapses, and she sets ablaze with this dark fire. Those of you who are familiar with of an explosive fireball, but this thing is going to explode and looks like it can easily take out half of this room. Immediately, all the paladins start shouting in unison. All the guards send out some form of magic as if to contain this individual. Several of them, large beams of magic mount and wrap around this to contain this possible ticking time bomb. As it does so, this dark magic that's radiating around Brooks recoils back over their magic, strikes them, and you see them age extremely rapidly until they nearly go to skin and bones. They scream in agonizing pain like some sort of necromantic curse, and they forcibly let go, and they just collapse. Brooks is screaming in utter agony. The room is mixed, shaken. People don't know what the hell to do. Now that they know they cannot really control this thing, or at least contain it the way they thought they would. Vivian's just standing there, near tears in her eyes, not sure what to do. You think she's actually froze up for once.
Edgar's going to tense up, and I'm trying to think if you'll allow me to do this. I have a way to...
You're not really going to have time for an actual action, but any reaction from anyone, or at least what you would attempt to do.
Can Glossing just scream Vivian's name?
Oh yeah, no, that plenty of screaming can happen.
So I don't have time to summon a tool?
No, you can try, but by the time you would get there, something's gonna happen.
In that case, he's probably just gonna try and neum across and get Vivian and Sabrak out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys just kind of want to run around to about halfway to where you think your intention is, you can get about that far.
Here's the problem. If it's truly evil dark magic, I think I'm not sure if Edgar would be affected.
Well, Edgar, you're not sure what this is. This actually does not look familiar to you.
Oh, okay.
You just know this thing looks nasty, and it's probably going to explode. And it'll probably take out at least half the room.
We don't need a TPK right now.
No, that's probably not good. You guys... regardless, you react however. You just run into whatever your form of response is of fight or flight.
Edgar's, because he can't.
Beyond the screaming of Brooks herself and just pure agony, and some few horrified screams from the council members as well. You see a few other guards try the same effect, but this necrotic ability of this is just excuse me, negating whatever they were planning to do. You hear a distressed scream of the name of Craig, no, as a skeleton grapples on to Brooke, screaming, "I want to be king!"
What?
And just tackles her ass. He makes contact. She shrieks. It plays over Craig's form. It implodes like if sucked into a magical vortex. The dark, mysterious magic vanishes. Brooks is ashes and falls to the floor as it explodes, sending ashes out everywhere, coating the slightest faint. Craig explodes across the room in several pieces.
As this happens, Edgar's going to throw up a very fast shield sigil big enough to cover the party.
Very good. The paladins do the same around those who they can. Across the room, there are bones. There is half of Craig leaning against the far wall. Sebastian runs over to him. Slight form of some magic crinkles over the bones and part of Craig. Craig! Why? Why? He just tries to console and help his friend, who seems to be losing what magic they were being stabled with. Why would you do this? I don't... Why, Craig? Craig puns. It seems like the thing a king would do. Okay. You're gonna be the best king, Craig. As the skeleton just hugs this close friend as the magic slowly fades. The room goes quiet. Miss Amber Bros! Aditya just yells aggressively across at her. She turns wildly. You will be having an emergency meeting right now with this council alone. You have a lot to discuss. No questions. No exemptions. Prince Adderall, you are free to leave, he says with the sternest of looks. The portal nods and the 3 guards from Aegon vanish through the portal. Everyone is shocked. Vivian looks back to the rest of you, tears in her eyes. Regardless of what happens, she shouts back at Aditya, I want that skeleton knighted and commended, as well as proper recognition for the casualties suffered upon the Midnight Star. That is my decree. Aditya looks to the other council members, a few of them nod. She says, granted. The rest of you, dismissed. Zarek hangs his head like he's just been berated and kind of saunters quick into a step. Come on, let's go. Kind of quickly tries to corral you to the door.
Edgar's going to quickly stand up and start moving. He's going to go and try to the skeleton, saying like, we need to leave.
Oh,
he's
yeah,
going to go around.
Samzen is going to collect up Sebastian, who is not letting what he can of Craig go. This lifeless skeleton holding in his arms. Lottie and Pelly are going to do what they can to just grab whatever few bones they can on the way out the door. They're just about the first one out the door as well.
Stone will probably be there with him because
You
given
were
his experience.
eagerly rushed out by Sabrak, who knows this is not, you should not be here right now. Those who care, just watch as Vivian is just looking back to you guys, legit tears.
Right before Edgar leaves, he's going to turn back around and just kind of cast her a very comforting smile, or as comforting as he can get. His eyes will flash that demonic red very briefly, but not in an intimidating way. He's trying to send the message.
I got you.
He's trying to kind of send the message of, I know we're not entirely on the same side, but I have your back if you need me.
You will hear a voice in your head that is obviously Vivian's. It is calm, but there is sadness. She says, "It will be okay."
He will nod respectfully in return and follow the others out of the atrium.
You were escorted promptly out by Sabrak back into the tower.
How dare you?
Yep.
No! We lost Sans!
I'm sorry.
I didn't ask to be upset this morning. Why did you have to do this to me?
Oh no.
I'm like actually crying. Why did you have to do this morning?
Nobody else would have worked any less painful. If Sebastian bit the dust, Craig would have been devastated.
It was a
More
very
so.
poetic ending, though. It was a very poetic ending.
It was poetic. It was
Yeah, that or you guys were gonna literally have to deal with several more dead people on your hands unless I could sacrifice somebody. And it made sense because this necrotic ability would just negate against whatever Craig's got going on. So he seemed the most likely candidate, unfortunately. Sadness in bounds, but that is the game. Thank you for joining me.
Meanwhile,
Yes. Thank you all for joining.
no problem.
Catch you guys next time.
on Diet D&D.
Yeah.